So today I have the real pleasure of inviting Anjie Hipple. I am so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Viv, for having me. It's a treat.
Yeah, likewise. Now, Angie, we are going to talk spiritual work today, spiritual awakenings and
Let's do it.
spirituality, and yeah,
Mhm.
can't wait to dig in. Now, Angie, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Sure. Well, I'm just a really normal, average person, as normal as people can be. In my 50s now, I'm in my second marriage. I raised three beautiful children with my first husband. I spent most of my life from the time I was very little up until my 40s as a fundamentalist Christian. Definitely a spiritual seeker and sifting and sorting through to find my own personal experience with the unseen. And most of that was within the context of Christianity. So I had some limitations and things to kind of work through. And in my mid 40s, I have what I call a series of unfortunate events. Of course, I'm a former middle school English teacher, which is why I happen to know about Lemony Snicket's series, book series of
Wow,
unfortunate events.
cool.
And
Love
if
it.
you've ever encountered that book series, it's this
Yeah.
hilarious tale about these two kids
Mm-hmm.
that everything seems to go wrong for them, right? But in the end, they discover that everything that went wrong was for a purpose and a reason, and it was for something beautiful. So in my mid 40s, I kind of went through this experience where everything fell apart. My marriage, there were things going on with my health, my kids. I had some family members really struggling with addiction. Everything just kind of came unraveled. My father died. He left me with a family business, which was a car business that I knew nothing about. And it supported several members of my family and some other families. So I was teaching school and had teenagers at home and was trying to figure out how to run a car business. And my marriage, as I said, was dissolving. So
Yeah.
it was just a lot of insanity and pain, and we all have it.
Yes.
Each of
Yeah.
us has our own really unique story. Um, each of us goes through certain things that I think our soul is attracting, even though we hate to think that, but it's for a
Mm.
higher purpose. And so the end of the story was I was divorced. I began life again. I was in the middle of a really profound awakening. I put my Bible on the shelf, which I'd probably read cover to cover many times. I stopped going to church and I just opened my mind and heart to there was no unforgiveness in there at all. There a lot of gratitude for my spiritual experiences within the church, but I was ready to do life without religion. And so I was seeking and reading and listening to enlightened beings, listening to enlightened channelers. And I was just in a whole new paradigm. And in that time period, my new husband came into my life, and he is a profound spiritual partner for me in this journey. And so I also encountered COVID during this time and was sick for 2 years. I was chronically ill. And so all of this was the big setup,
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
we each have them.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's a little gentler for your audience than it was for me, I hope. Maybe I needed a big setup because I was more stubborn or more attached to my ways of thinking and doing and being. But towards the end of 2 years of this chronic illness, having been just an incredibly healthy person, high performing type A person my whole life,
Right.
couldn't get out of the chair really to do anything. A good day was a day that I could walk up and down the stairs to my bedroom. So a lot of surrendering, lots of meditating, lots of peeling off layers of the onion,
Right. Mm-hmm.
letting go of my attachment to my roles as a teacher, my roles as a mom, my roles as a wife, letting go of so many ideas. It was a really pretty painful stripping of my ego. And at the end of that 2 years, the straw that broke the camel's back, my third grandbaby was about ready to be born, and I couldn't be there. I was too sick. I was
Uh,
heartbroken.
yeah.
Oh. So I was surrendering. Okay, universe, I'm going to miss this birth. So I'm just going to sit here in the chair and send love and blessings and let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And that evening, my husband and I were sitting, my new husband and I were sitting on the couch. We were watching a beautiful channeler. And he looked at me and he said, "You could do that." And I said, "Really? You think so?" Okay. I'm not saying no to anything anymore, right? I'm just glad that I'm alive after all this.
Yeah.
I don't have any preconceived ideas about anything anymore. And that night, I started having this major psychic phenomenon, and I could feel this little baby in my womb. It was as if he was in my womb, this little grandbaby. I could feel his head pushing down on my pelvic floor. I could feel my womb contracting. I could sense his spirit in the room with me. I knew all things about his future, what kind of person he was going to be. It was just really profound. And so when I got up in the morning, I typed it all up. And as I was typing, I began to get this introduction from an angelic group named Judah. And they told me about themselves, and I just typed away as fast as I could. When Chuck got home that night, I said, "Well, you asked for it. You said I should start channeling, and they're here."
Wow, amazing.
And I read him, what the channeled writing that I'd gotten, and I said, "What do we do next?" And we decided to sit on the couch and meditate, which we do a lot anyway. And within just a few minutes, this big, huge voice came barreling through. And so we've been having this love affair with Judah now for a couple of years, going on 3 years. And it's been absolutely life-changing. And I was completely healed, immediately healed when they first came through. I had no more physical issues.
Wow, that's amazing. And the first time when you encountered Judah, was that, you said that was in the middle of the night. Was that in a dream state, or did you wake up, or what did that look like?
That's a great question. Well, I was kind of in that twilight zone in between sleeping and waking. So I was not fully asleep. It was not just a dream. Yeah, it was actually a physical experience. And in the first few days of channeling that followed, I had a lot of really strong physical sensations. And I'm really thankful for it now, because I think without it, I would have thought maybe just that I was going crazy or making it up or something.
Yeah.
But I felt like a drill going in between my eyebrows. It wasn't painful, but it was that powerful, as if somebody had put a battery drill up in between over my third eye there. And I would feel heat in my ears. I still have lots of physical sensations when I channel, especially when I work with people one-on-one. I'll have a sense that I just kind of catch on fire, almost like you would imagine a hot flash to be.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I'll feel different sensations in different parts of my body. And I know, like yesterday I was working with a lady, and I felt a lot of fire on the left side of my head. And I said, "Do you feel fire on the left side of your head?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "You have an angel right there." So that's kind of how I sense or feel these different presences. And this is a funny story that somebody, may need to hear. I've learned through this work that when women in particular hit that age where their kids are grown and they're hitting that next phase of life, menopausal phase, where they have more free time, that is really can be an open door, a portal for these women to step over into really high spiritual gifts and callings. It's as if the universe knows, okay, this woman has all the wisdom of having raised her children, and now her hands are free and her heart is free for more. And so just before Judah came, for several months, I'd been having this every night about the same time. I would just catch on fire, and I thought it was just menopause and a hot flash.
Amazing. I can empathize with that.
It wasn't. It was them. It was them. So here I was thinking I was going to have to go to the doctor and get some hormones or something, right? And so
Wow.
I don't know how I figured it out, but when I finally figured it out, then that's my cue now. So every night when we're just doing our evening routine, sitting on the couch, watching a little TV or whatever, I'll get that hot flash, hit it, whoosh, and I'll look at Chuck and say, they're here. And we'll say, okay, we turn off the TV and we settle in and get ready for them to talk. So that's one of the signs that they've arrived.
Amazing. And did you find that going through the awakening process, you know, peeling off the onion is a very lonely journey as well? As you're saying, you had to surrender to your ego and letting go of control. And if you have been a control freak like myself beforehand, it's super painful, and the universe will just crush down on you. Did you feel like your spiritual channeling gifts were sort of getting empathized in during the spiritual awakening, or did it just come out of the blue? Like, did you sort of have any intuition getting strengthened, or what did that look like? Prior to Judah coming straight on?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, you know, I had been going through this process for about 5 or 6 years before Judah came barreling through. And there's a correlation between the Buddha's story, because the Buddha for 6 years was just trying everything. Gautam Buddha, he was trying fasting and, meditation, all these different things. And he had his little pack of his little entourage that they were doing all the spiritual stuff that they could find to do. And it's said that he just gave up. He just gave up, and he sat down under the famous Bodhi tree, and went to sleep. And when he went to sleep, he had this dream that he expanded and covered the whole continent. And his head was laying on the mountains in the Himalayas were his pillow, and his feet were in the Indian Ocean, and his hands were in the 2 oceans to his right and left. And then it said that he woke up enlightened and glowing. Everybody could see the glow around him. And when he woke up, he said, let's eat. So, kind of the thing that I took away from that is, maybe we have to go through all this trying all this stuff. And that's the thing about spiritual work, especially, like I really relate. I was the typical codependent mom, lots of controlling and all that. And then you can shift out of that kind of control into this adding on things to your ego through spiritual work, right? And then you just come to a place where you're like, screw it. Nothing's working. I'm done. And you just give up. Give up. And then it seems like that's when the
breakthrough comes.
Yeah. So to answer your question, is it gradual or is it instant? Is it all of that, or just, I think it's all of it. I think it is all the trying and schlepping around and messing it up and ego wrangling. And then, sometimes we just get this grace comes and something beautiful and wonderful happens. And, there were times in those 2 years where I really didn't want to live anymore. A lot of my spiritual process was just that I was just sick of suffering. I was sick of what I was doing to myself. I was sick of the thoughts, that were tormenting myself with my own guilt and fears and regrets and all of that, and the conditioning of my religious mindset. I just didn't want to suffer anymore. It's not that I wanted to be some spiritual person or enlightened person. I just wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I went on a bunny trail there, but
No, but it's so beautiful that you share that journey, because I think we all had to experience, if you are on this pathway, I think the first part of your life is learning what you don't want in your life, so to speak.
Mhm.
And you had to sort of understand the healing journey as well. You had to do a lot of healing yourself in order to heal others. So I think it's lessons needs to be, we need to understand what suffering is in order to help others.
Yes. Mhm. I think
So
Judah.
yeah, and now Judah, can you channel Judah today?
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, let's let Judah talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about suffering. Let's talk about that. Hello, dear Viv, and thank you for this opportunity. And hello to all of your listeners, and all the listeners coming in the future as well. You are welcome to this time and space of of high consciousness. And let us just expand here the consciousness field into higher and higher realms as we go along in this conversation. And so we would say, there is never a need to suffer, ever, 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 ever. And suffering is the fruit of the ego. And yes, this vessel had so many layers of conditioning upon the mind, as we all do, as you all do, my dears. For you come into this world as a blank slate, as a beautiful baby who knows nothing. And these beautiful babes that know nothing, nothing at all, and they are not concerned that they know nothing. They don't know if they're white or black, male or female, happy or sad. You see, they're just innocent and open, an open book with blank pages. And it is the things that they are taught, the things that they absorb from the culture and through their parents and very well-meaning persons that cause them then to suffer. Programs such as sit still, programs such as remember to be nice to everyone, even if they're not being nice to you, and many, many programs, and they seem like good ones, and many of them are okay. They are necessary for these children to survive, to thrive in the culture in which they are having a human experience. However, over time, these layers and layers and layers of applications or programs, they begin to lose touch with the soul and who they really are, which is blameless, perfect, unattached, flawless, of the highest intelligence, a higher mind. Even children that you think of as being disabled or cognitively impaired in some way, we assure you that they are connected. Their soul is connected to vast intelligence in the universe, and so on. And so we encourage you to release yourself from the suffering of the mind. Release yourself by being unattached to your thoughts, allowing them to flow on by. You see, thoughts are very demanding. Each thought that you think wants you to believe that it is of the utmost importance. And we would say, and these thoughts also want you to hold on to them and add to them. Hold on to them and add to them. But thoughts are not that important. There is no single thought on which your happiness is predicated. There is no single thought or piece of information that you need to be joyous in this life. For joy is what you are. Love is what you are. Peace is what you are. So there's nothing that needs to be added to you, my dears, only things to be taken away. And these things are only ideas to be taken away. And as these ideas are taken away, you remember yourself as the enlightened being that you are. For this is what you are. You are enlightened beings. Your soul is full of light, wisdom, and understanding. Good.
Wonderful. And what's happening now when we're entering into the fifth dimension from the third dimension? Are human beings going to have less destructive thoughts? Is that part of the process?
Yes. So living in the third dimension as you are, the things you touch, taste, see, and feel. Yet your soul is of the fifth dimension, and some of you even higher. And this fifth dimensional part of you is the part we were just describing to you, the flawless and perfect parts that are connected to all that is in the higher mind. And your fifth dimensional parts are expressions of God. And so as you begin to recognize and make distinction between this part of yourself and the fourth dimensional parts of thought and emotion, and simply distinguish between them. For you see, your soul, this is what our intention for you is, that your soul, your fifth dimensional parts, be the hand in the glove being your fourth dimensional parts, your thoughts and emotions, your experience, your background, your age, your culture, your family, the language you speak, your education or lack thereof, your skills, your talents. All of these are the fourth dimensional expressions of the personality, And we would say there's nothing wrong with these things, because your soul wants these things in order to express itself through these things. And so your soul wants to put on the glove of you. Your soul is, you see, in your case, dear Viv, so much more than just Viv. We love you. We love your vitality, your vivaciousness, your hair, your eyes. We know how many hairs are on your head. We know what you like to eat for dinner. We know when your birthday is and the exact minute that you were born. We love all the things that make you uniquely you, all the parts of your personality, your thoughts and emotions, and so on. And what your soul, however, is so much larger than just Viv. Your soul has squeezed itself down into this expression, this beautiful expression called Viv. But your soul has lived many, many lifetimes and has ancient wisdom and understanding, and is all-knowing and all-powerful and completely sourced and resourced. And so your soul, we want you to be aware of this part of yourself and allow this part of yourself to consume and fill up Viv like a hand fills up a glove. And then, of course, it is not the glove that moves. It is the hand that moves the glove. It is the hand that expresses itself through the glove and does what it wants to do. So let your soul, your vast eternal parts, express themselves through all that you are, through your beautiful body and mind and your circumstances and your relationships and your work and so on. And in this way, you begin to change your 3D material reality. So if you want to change the things that you see in the world, if you want to change your finances, if you want to change your work relationships, if you want to stop wars, if you want the earth to have clean water, all of these things are manifestations of the interior work of allowing your soul to invade all of who you are and be more and more and more and more in charge. And so thought has to come under the soul. Thought has to come behind the soul, has to follow the soul, like little baby ducks following the mama duck. Let the mama duck be your soul, and let all your thoughts be the little baby ducks following behind in service to the soul. They are not to take charge and rule the roost. They are in service to the real you, the true you, we would say.
And what is an earth angel?
Well, I'll share that one. So my understanding is that an earth angel is an angelic soul that has made a choice to incarnate in human form. And so as my relationship with Judah developed, it's, just like any other human relationship, you kind of exchange niceties in the beginning and a little information. And then if you really feel a kinship with someone, you share more intimately. and the relationship grows over time. So over time, Judah explained to me that they are an angelic group of about 350 angelic souls, but they're very unified, and they are not created. They were created by source, so they are truly angels as opposed to other ET races and so on. And they explained to me that I'm one of those souls.
Right.
Sometimes they'll call me the littlest angel or their little sister. And they explained to me that I made a choice to incarnate on earth. And I've lived many lifetimes on earth, but my soul is angelic and is from them. And that's why I feel that kinship with them. And so an earth angel, there are many of them. There are many people on the earth that are angels incarnated. And you can get a sense when you're around them. I think one of the characteristics about these earth angels is that they always come back to love, no matter what they suffer, no matter what people do to them, what kind of betrayals or accusations are laid against them. They will just always come back to loving everyone. And they just have a really precious gift to forgive. And they have a deep passion to know God and experience God. And they really reflect God in a big way, because they're, my understanding of angels is they're the offspring of God. Yeah. They're like God's children. And so, just like your children probably look a lot like you, and they might have your same mannerisms and ways. Angels are like that. They are really reflect to us a lot of what God is like. And these earth angels, sometimes you encounter them, and when you're with them, you just feel so loved, and you just feel there's something so special about them, and they change you, they transform you in whatever time you have with them. And you feel like you've been in the presence of God,
And you can never forget them either. You
Right.
always make a very big impact. People will always remember you.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. I love that, Judah channeling. Thank you so much for that. That was just beautiful. Yes. Mind-blowing. I love the fit with the glove. 4D is the glove, and my soul is the fifth dimension, my hand to slip in and take charge. The soul to take charge, not my ego.
Right.
How are we going to get the transformation so people are entering into a more soul-focused, heart-connected way of acting and behaving rather than the ego? Do you think a spiritual awakening gift is something that's been programmed before we're coming into this lifetime, that you are very lucky to encounter it? Or does everyone have the opportunity to undergo a spiritual awakening by themselves by having an intention?
Yes, let's let Judah talk about that. Well, we would say there are some on the earth. There are many who are likened to a homeless person rummaging around in the garbage for a scrap of food to eat. There are many who are diligently and desperately looking for, we're speaking of their souls now, are desperately looking for life, for food, for awakening. And these that are so diligently looking, the soul, they will find the awakening they are looking for. They will find it. It will come to them. It is their hunger. It is their hunger and their desperation. And their hunger and desperation will be met. And the Christ said this. He said, those who are hungry, blessed are those who are hungry, they shall be filled. And there are others who have not so desperate of a situation, but they have the wisdom, a wisdom that they brought into this particular incarnation. And the wisdom is this. The wisdom is vicarious learning. They understand that that they can look around and see others who are thriving, others who are touching heaven, others who are bringing heaven into their experience. And they have the wisdom and understanding to follow and listen closely to these ones in order to circumvent any ego suffering that life might offer them. And you, dear, are one of these. You have this gift of wisdom, of vicarious learning. And so you look and you listen to those around you and you say, this one has something of life, something life force giving, loving energy that I know will be of help to me. And so the wisdom that you have is to listen and learn and take away what works for you and disregard the rest, and thereby avoid suffering, avoid the suffering of the ego, and simply circumvent it altogether. No suffering needed, you see. So there are two ways. And either way, we respect and honor. And it is the choice of the soul to either learn through this desperation of hunger, like the homeless one rummaging through the trash, or to learn through the wisdom of vicarious learning from other masters and circumventing suffering. And either choice shall be met with awakening and enlightenment miracles.
Thank you. So how many people do you think in 100 years will be enlightened on this planet?
Hundreds of thousands, for certain. Hundreds of thousands. At this time, there are over 10,000. And because of the rising number, these will exponentially increase the numbers. And technology is making the way for the many hungry to find the light they are looking for.
And will the enlightened people offer a ripple effect to those ones who are not as enlightened? Will they be inspired to follow suit?
Yeah. Yes. I want to actually share something that we share a lot in this work is from Dr. David Hawkins' book called Power versus Sport. Are you familiar with this work?
Yes.
And he said that one enlightened individual can counterbalance the negativity of 70 million individuals in the survival realms of consciousness. And one person at the level of peace counterbalances 10 million individuals in those lower realms of consciousness. And one person living in unconditional love counterbalances 750,000 people in those lower realms of fear, guilt, shame, hurt, pain, anger, all of those things. So Judah's emphasis is always that as we do our own interior work, as we meditate, as we surrender, and our ego is not really a part of us at all. Lately, Judah's been telling me to stop saying my ego and instead say the ego.
The ego, yeah.
And distinguish it as not who I am. Judah gave a really powerful illustration last weekend in a live channeling that if you imagine if we were born as a newborn baby, imagine us as a brand new cell phone just out of the box when we're born with nothing downloaded on it, only one factory loaded app, and that would be our karma. And so there's nothing on us. We're just blank. We're open for all information, right? And then as we grow up, these different apps are downloaded onto the cell phone of us, like shame, guilt, anxiety, hurt, fear,
Depression.
sickness, depression, controlling, all of those are our apps. And so as we grow up and we become adults, we have our favorite apps, just like we do in real life, right? We have certain ones that we use all the time. So maybe our favorite is depression, to be sad, or maybe it's to control, or maybe it's to perform, be high performing, or to earn money. We have these different apps and we all have our favorite ones, but all of them are not who we really are. Who we really are is that blank cell phone. And so in our spiritual work, we're deleting these apps that aren't serving us anymore. And when we're getting back to what we really are, which is an enlightened being. So as we're doing this work, which sometimes is hard, or like Judah just said, sometimes it's like, looking for scraps. And then other times it's with the wisdom of learning. Like I spend a lot of time reading the material of enlightened beings, so that I can, shortcut this process for myself. But ultimately, if we can be that one enlightened person, and we can cancel out the negativity of tens
70
of
million.
thousands,
Yeah.
millions of people. And we don't have to do anything to do that. We don't have to do podcasts. We don't have to write books.
Just be.
Just be.
Just by being, you make a difference. By being you.
Just by being. And, I meet these people. I do sessions, all week, every week. And sometimes I meet the most phenomenal people. I mean, these people are very enlightened, and when Judah starts prophesying over them, I realize, wow, this person is literally changing their whole city, or they're changing their whole nation, or they're changing their entire family bloodline. They are clearing the karma for their entire family line. There are people, everybody out there likely that's listening to this podcast is doing some really powerful light work just by doing their own interior work. And, all the enlightened masters, that was the one thing that they said that they have in common, was a statement to this effect. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. But he also said, you are the light of the world. So he didn't say, Viv, you're the light of your family, you're the light of your city, you're the light of Sweden. No, he said, you're the light of the world. And so when he said that, he's saying, this is the potential that you have, you see. And the Buddha, it's said that the very last words that he said before he died was, be your own light.
Yeah.
Be the light of your own soul. So as we're being the light to our own soul, as we're getting back to who we really are without all those apps, deleting all those apps, then that's when we become the light of the world. That's when we become that one person that counterbalances those millions of people that are suffering at the hands of their ego.
Yeah, it's a celebration, shrinking your ego and getting out of that prison. I think it's a blessing. Now, your husband, did you find that he came in as a soulmate or a twin flame to assist you in your work?
That's a great question. I don't really put terms on it like that. I think that they probably fit, but I can tell you the experience was profound.
I would love to hear it. Bring it on.
And I have so much hope for people to find love. Single, people that are divorced. When I met Chuck, he was 72, not looking for love. And of course, I wasn't really looking for him. He wasn't, we wouldn't be a fit.
Do you like 20 years age gap?
25, yeah.
25, wow, yeah.
So, but let me tell you how I found, got this connection. So a friend of mine, I had been really sick, and a friend of mine sent me to Chuck, and she thought Chuck hung the moon in the sky. He's an acupuncturist, and he helped her get pregnant with her first and only child at the age of 50, after she had exhausted everything that Western medicine had to offer her. So she loved and adored Chuck. So I went to see him, and I felt better right away from some chronic problems that I'd had.
Right.
And so I'd been coming as a patient for many years. And after my divorce, sometime after my divorce, I was on the way to my appointment one day, and just, doing my usual thing in the car, and this presence filled up the car, and and it took my breath away. And I was just taken away into a state of total bliss. I don't know who it was in the car. I guess it was Judah. And I hadn't met Judah at that time, but I knew that I had to keep going. And I knew that there was something going on with this guy named Chuck. So long story short, that experience that I had gave me the courage to pursue him romantically. And
So
like
he
I said,
literally took your breath away in
he was not
prior
in the
to
room.
meeting him, but he wasn't
Yeah,
there. But
right. He wasn't
your
there.
breath was taken before meeting him, and then that was
Yes.
like a sign.
When it
That's
happened,
the one.
when my breath was taken like that, I literally couldn't breathe for a few seconds. I just heard really strong in my mind, Chuck. I just heard his name.
Wow.
And it was so powerful that I thought maybe he had had the experience, or maybe that he had somehow created it. But he hadn't. He was clueless. He had no idea that that had happened to me, and he had no romantic thoughts towards me whatsoever. So
Wow.
so that was kind of the beginning that gave me kind of the courage to begin pursuing a relationship with him. And he gave in pretty quickly.
I bet you're beautiful. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, and and I'll have to say, spiritual partnerships are a treasure. And they're hard too. They're intense. So there's Chuck had so much to offer me in the way of growth. He was willing to challenge every thought that I had, every word that I said that was off base, that was untrue, that wasn't serving me. All my conditioning, he would never let it slide. He would confront it. And he would say to me, when I would feel sorry for myself and want to play the victim, he would say to me, now, I can't be in a relationship with someone who doesn't believe they create their own reality. And he said that on many occasions. I can't be in a relationship. Sorry, but I can't be in a relationship with someone that doesn't believe they create their own reality. And so he would insist that I take responsibility as the creator of my own reality. And he would not allow me to blame him for things, even when he was being a little schmuck, even if he had some part to play in it, and he knew it. But he knew that I couldn't get free as long as I was blaming him or anybody else. And so it's intense around our place, but the reward is infinite. I mean, we get visits from Michael the Archangel and Judah and Edgar Casey. And I mean, it's just the Arcturians, the Pleiadians. I mean, the reward is huge, but the work is intense.
Yeah, I bet. All your triggers would come up right to the surface, and the pain and everything that needs to be processed, generational trauma. It's not just your lifetime. I mean,
yeah, and there were times I wanted to quit, and there were many times that I would have my bags packed and be ready to go, and there were times even that I would get down the road and turn around and come back. And I do believe it's, it was part of our destiny, and our purpose is to be together so that I could awaken and move on. And so, I don't know always about soul contracts and soulmates and twin flames and all that. But I definitely know that there's something there with us. Yeah, that's been very important to everything that happens.
It's also he's assisting you as well to become the best version of you, so you can maximize your growth, because you can only heal so much on your own. You need to have that mirror right at you.
Yes, mirroring, that's a great word for it. I think when you reach a certain place in the journey, then you're always mirroring to others, and you're not so much feeling your own feelings anymore as you are reflecting feelings back to others. Yeah.
So I think the next part of the journey is to meet your kindred soul to help you raise even with that breath. I heard it before. It's not terribly uncommon. It is quite common. I heard other people when they met the partner, the breath were taken away the first time they saw them. Yeah, and it's just something about their breath that seems to be very classic, so to speak.
That's cool.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah,
good
it's
to
very
know
cool. Uh, did you know when you saw him, was it like love at first sight? Did you feel the really strong attraction, or was it more like on a soul level, or was it a combination of everything?
that. No, in the beginning, I didn't feel all that because he was my acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
But I was receiving so much profound healing that it was hard not to feel just a deep I felt in the beginning, I just felt such a deep level of gratitude and appreciation for the healing and the freedom that I was getting. I remember, one of the first things that he ever said to me is, well, you're in a state of fight or flight. We need to get you back into a growth and repair state. And he said, you're always in one or the other. And, he didn't even remember even saying that to me, but it was profound for me because I realized, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh,
Yeah.
I've been living my life, all of my adult life in fight or flight. And it's time to get on into growth and repair.
Yeah, just having the awareness, what's going on.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm,
amazing.
mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing your personal story. It's I love it. It's gorgeous to hear.
Thank you.
Um, Now, what is the biggest fear you have faced in your life, Angie?
That's a good one. Let me think about that. Hmm. The biggest fear. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I think it's just the fear of being unloved.
Mm,
The fear of being unloved. And I feel like maybe we all feel this. I hear this a lot. When I work with people, a lot of times I hear this sadness that they haven't been truly loved. I do think that I think it's maybe even a little deeper than just me personally. I think maybe it's my soul. Um, you know, the soul longs to experience itself as love and to be unconditional love. But I think, yeah, in our human experience, there's a lot of fear I feel of not being loved. Hmm hmm
mm,
hmm And I think especially, as I grew up, because I grew up in a religious tradition, and I didn't really experience unconditional love from anyone because there were so many rules and regulations and expectations. And so I think I learned to accept approval in place of love. There were certain ways that I could perform well or use my talents or intelligence to please people.
and becoming
And
codependent, as you were mentioning as well. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
deep codependency.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the reason why the codependency was so strong for me was because of the even codependency with God and religion and
Yeah.
religious thinking and all of that. So I think a deep underlying fear of not being loved. hmm hmm Yes. And now I understand that I am love. I am love, and that all the love that I need is inside of me, and I don't need it from external sources. And it's still challenging sometimes when I experience, sometimes in this work, some pretty strong accusations or judgments and things. And those, I can kind of lay aside because they're people that don't really know me. But even with people that are close to me, if there's rejection or
Mm-hmm.
it can be a challenge, but I have learned, especially in the last few years, when I feel that, to still go inside, to let go of wanting and needing love from others and release them completely and sit with myself and allow myself to experience myself as the embodiment of God's love. And when I do that, and a lot of times when I work with Judah, I feel so much love flowing out towards people, and it feels inexhaustible. It feels like it just will never end.
Amazing. Gorgeous. Peace and harmony. That's what we
Mm,
all want to experience, right?
yes.
Uh, where do you hope we are in 10 years in the world from now, from your viewpoint and the work that you're doing with Judah? And
Well, should we let Judah answer that, and then I can
Yeah, that
answer
would
it?
be lovely.
So
Yeah.
from my point of view, just as a person, I just hope to keep touching one person at a time and creating that ripple effect of people that are really deeply transformed and have an experience of themselves as love, as freedom. I really want the people I work with to feel completely free of
Mhm.
whatever is in their past or present that makes them feel stuck or not able to be who they are. And I hope to impact, I've asked Judah to give me, and Judah said yes, 10 people that will be enlightened beings from this work. Um, and I hope there'll be hundreds of thousands more that will be really transformed and awakened. Let's ask Judah. Yes, there is so much potential for humanity to be revolutionized. You will literally see in the coming 2 decades a new humanity altogether. There will be less and less suffering, more and more sharing. There is the possibility for some things to become only a part of history. For some things, such as hunger, such as war, such as greed and selfishness, to become only a faint memory written in the history pages of humanity. There is potential for all of humanity to shift upwards into the levels of courage, courage, optimism, faith, and hope. Yes, yes, yes. And there are an army of awakened and enlightened people now who will facilitate this. And there are angels and there are interstellar races who are actively adding their energy, their strategies, their wisdom and know-how to create this new humanity and new earth. And so we will say what we say to everyone we encounter. We will continue to encourage you to unplug from what does not serve this high ideal. We encourage you to hold the highest ideals in your heart for humanity to evolve into light beings, to evolve into new beings that are like angels, angelic in nature. This will not happen in the next 10 years, but it is in the trajectory and realm of possibility for humanity in the next 100 years to evolve into a new human that lives from a crystalline light body structure, and that lives in high consciousness and peace and camaraderie and collaboration and creativity and freedom with one another.
Wonderful. Will we need less food by then as we
Yeah.
become lighter?
Yes, yes. And I'm already on that trajectory, and some others are, and these ones that are living in really high states of consciousness will eat less and less and less and lighter and lighter and lighter. Eat lots of baby food around here. That sounds crazy, but it's organic, fruits and vegetables.
That's right. And fluid
Yeah.
as well, liquid, more into
Yeah,
liquid.
lots of water.
Lots and lots of water. Yeah, beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we round up? I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed meeting you and Judah, and it's been mind-blowing.
We enjoyed it as well. Well, we just want to thank you from our heart and Judah wants to thank you for your loving high consciousness work. And we just bless everything that concerns you in your life and work, all your children, your home, your finances, everything, that you be completely blessed from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, and that you'll be the head all the time in everything and never the tail. Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you.